If you're a fan of the Minnesota Timberwolves, you've got to be asking yourself what the hell is going on with the three-point shooting on this team. Now, there were plenty of things that went wrong for them to lose Game 1 against the Warriors with a huge rest advantage and a game-ending injury to Steph Curry. If Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle showed up to play, maybe they win. If Mike Conley didn't go scoreless and continue to be unplayably bad, then maybe they win. Or if they simply matched Golden State's energy in a bunch of different areas, then maybe they win. But it's hard to ignore the 5 for 29 they shot from deep, especially coming off Game 5 against the Lakers, where they somehow shot even worse. And this isn't even a bad shooting team. This is a team who ended the regular season with the 5th most 3-point makes and the 4th best 3-point percentage. And to me, we got to see the full spectrum of shooting luck, bad decisions, and then just a team searching for a shooting rhythm in this game, and it really ended up costing Minnesota a potentially crucial win. In that closeout game against the Lakers, we saw them get a bunch of great looks and just miss them. If a team creates open shots, especially one with really reliable shooters like Minnesota, then they have to trust that shooting variance will eventually turn in their favor and those shots will start going down. That's the kind of risk-reward setup the whole league is running with right now, and that's just how the modern NBA works. And we saw some of that in this game as well. Like if Minnesota gets Julius Randle rolling into this space, they're going to get low man helpers rotating and high helpers coming off those shooters, and if they're able to collapse the defense like this, it's hard to deny that those are good catch and shoot looks that are coming out of that possession. Now, there certainly needs to be credit that goes to Golden State's defense here as well. The way they leave the corner to rotate over to cut Randle off here, while this defender veers all the way out back to the corner, was a pretty good example of how tuned in they were defensively, but Minnesota did still find some really nice possessions that just ended in misses. So Golden State were running a zone throughout this game and they're in that here. Randle hits the soft spot in the middle of it, and by doing that they force Ant's man to become the helper and dig down into Randle, and a little touch pass here to one of the league's best shooters wide open is definitely a good possession, but a miss is a miss, and Minnesota kept racking up those misses in this game. And I think those are the ones that are the most demoralizing for an offense. If Edwards gets downhill here, draws in 3 defenders, and then forces the weak side defense to leave Naz Reid to rotate over, we'd all call that exceptional offense if Reid was able to knock down a shot that he so often knocks down. For me, this is where teams will live and die by their shot variance. If the ball is moving, if they're collapsing the defense and forcing them into rotation, and if they're finding open shots at the end of it, teams are going to live with the results because the process of getting those shots is solid. For Minnesota, it killed them in this game, but on another night, they might knock down 4 or 5 more threes coming out of that good process, and they walk away with a win, or at least a performance that wasn't so ugly offensively. But I think where things got a little bit more worrying for Minnesota in this game was the possessions that they didn't make the right reads, and that led to bad 3-point looks. There were multiple possessions like this one, especially early in the game, where Minnesota's offense was operating with a flow and with a rhythm, where they were able to collapse that defense, but they don't make the right decisions. Here when Conley catches, he's got to be able to attack this closeout and either get to the rim, draw the helpers away from Gobert and McDaniels, or collapse the defense again to find a shooter. Instead, he doesn't dribble and forces it out to Randle, who jacks up a contested shot. Conley not being able to do anything off the dribble while also missing threes and being a defensive liability is becoming a real problem for Minnesota, but those poor decisions weren't limited to just him. Again, when they collapse the defense here in their drive and kick game, and Ant-Man is in here putting a body on Gobert, they've got to find this open catch and shoot corner jumper instead of that contested shot in the paint. Eventually, Ant is going to get the ball here and force up a shot he probably feels like he missed out on, but that's not the right decision either, and that stems from the offense not making the right reads earlier in the possession. I think Minnesota bent Golden State's defense enough times in this game to really make them pay with their shooting, but if they weren't just missing open looks, they were taking this shot from a bad shooter in McDaniels and turning down the extra pass to a great shooter in Reed, and in a playoff game, those kind of things can really hurt a team. And when a team's shooting as poorly as Minnesota have been lately, you're inevitably going to see guys just start hunting for that ice-breaking three. Again, a playoff game is a bad time for that to be happening, and we saw the Wolves just struggling to find their rhythm with their shot all game long. So I don't think it's as simple as saying Minnesota needs to stop shooting threes. In fact, they need to keep shooting threes and probably even shoot more than the 29 they attempted in Game 1, but they do need to be more intentional about the shots they take, how they create them, and the situations in which they are taking them. If they do that, these shots will eventually start going in. This is a potentially short playoff series though, and they're already at a disadvantage with their Game 1 loss, so they're going to have to mend this issue quickly if they want to advance to the Western Conference Finals. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to support Howls and Growls, you can become a member in the links below. If not, you can always like this video or subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Thanks again for watching.